Well, good morning, everyone. I hope that you are enjoying a great first morning of the week. It's our Sunday morning recap, and we're going to be in Daniel chapter number 1, verse number 8, and bring you up to speed on what we covered yesterday. And really, the title of this, or if there is a title, is listen. Strong, God-honoring convictions inspire others. Let's just face it that when we have a strong conviction about the Lord and we're living it out personally, it affects those around us, our testimony. And so yesterday, we got to witness how everyone should be responding to the decline we're seeing in authentic and meaningful faith. I mean, we're seeing a decline in that. We know there's a lot of people that go to church, and there's a lot of people that say they have a home church and they say they love the Lord, but we're seeing a pretty intense decline on faithfulness and authenticity, where their meaning for their life is coming from their relationship with the Lord. And I think a lot of people today, their meaning for life is coming from a lot of other things. Oh, and they also love the Lord. Well, that was what was going on before Israel went into captivity, especially, we're talking about in this passage, Judah, Jerusalem going into captivity, falling to Babylon. And so really, we should be responding with strong God-honoring convictions in our time, because our time is similar to their time. Prosperity had really taken them down a path of really just self-focus and building their own lives, their own kingdom, and they really didn't have a whole lot of time to honor the Lord with their lives. They didn't really have a lot of time to do anything really for the Lord. They would show up when they could, but for the most part, God was absent from their lives. Their whole approach to life was about everything else but the Lord. And so Daniel recognized how important making a stand would be, and he determined to honor God where it mattered most. His willingness to be faithful to God made a difference. We fail to trust when we're making our own decisions. And so he determined that God was the one that was going to take care of him, that God had a plan for his captivity, and that he was going to honor God in the ways that he could. In fact, listen to verse number 8 in chapter number 1 of Daniel. It says this, "But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself." And then the next several verses describe exactly what's happening, who participates with him, what the concerns were. I mean, Daniel was actually quite concerned for the health and well-being of the people that were in charge of him. Even though he wanted to make his stand, he still did it in a way that was respectful for those that were in charge of him. And so, listen, let me put it this way. He made a stand in the areas that mattered. He knew that God had given him some regulation for his diet, so he was on a specific diet. He knew that he wasn't supposed to honor any other gods, and so he asked not to eat the foods or drink the drinks that were offered to idols. And so he just made a stand in a couple of key places that helped him anchor himself into being one of God's kids. And I think that that's a problem that we have today. Most believers today aren't anchored to anything really about the Lord. They might be anchored to their favorite activity or advancement at work or education. They might be all anchored to all those things, but they're not necessarily anchored to anything that involves their faith, which should be the centerpiece of everything that happens in our lives. And so Daniel purposed in his heart that he would hold on to some centerpieces that reflected God, and he did that. And you know what the crazy thing is that he was benefited more than had he just worked out more or just cut calories or maybe watched his carb intake. He really was better than the others, even though he was on a really strict diet. Not because the strict diet was better nutrition, but because he was honoring the Lord, and the Lord honored him back. In fact, let me read a couple of verses to you to show you how much Daniel was honored by the Lord because he made his stand for the Lord. Verse number 17 says, "As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams." This was going to be key. This was going to be how he would not only help direct the pagan nations, but it would also save his life and many others. Verse number 20, notice what it says, "And in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all the realm." And so so listen, we need to remember this, that God is better than any program we could go get from someone, or some adventure, or really some targeted goal that we are chasing. And so I want to encourage you with this. Listen, strong God-honoring convictions inspire others to walk with God. That should be our hope and our joy. Enjoy a great day.